Alright, so about 2 weeks ago, I made my first actual video in like 9 months, and a lot of people liked it, so I figured, why not make another Sonic video? For a theoretical Sonic Heroes 2, I want to talk about like some of the teams they might add. Now, I don't think we're going to get all of these teams. I think they'll probably only add like 2 at the most. I also think all the original teams are going to stay intact. I don't think they're going to like get rid of Big and replace him with Sticks or whatever. I don't think they're going to do that. The one team I think should be guaranteed would be Silver, Blaze, and someone else. Now, I'm not really sure who else it would be. I'm thinking maybe like Mephiles or someone. And I know Mephiles like shouldn't exist after the ending of Sonic 06, but I don't really care. Like, I couldn't think of anyone else, so I don't think they'll actually put in Mephiles, but you know, maybe someone else. I think the Diamond Cutters, pulling from the comics a little bit here, would be a pretty cool team. You know, I think Whisper could be Flight because of the Wispin. Tangle could be Speed, and Lanolin could be Power, or you could flip around Lanolin and Tangle, I don't really know. I think Eggman, Sage, and Metal Sonic would be a pretty cool team, because Eggman hasn't been playable in a mainline game since Sonic Adventure 2. I think the Babylonian Rogues would be a pretty cool team, because we haven't really seen them a lot. Going back to the comics a little bit, I think these are the 2 least likely teams. Ruff, Tumble, and Mimic, and the main reason I say that is because in the Bad Guys miniseries, Ruff gets the Speed Core, Tumble gets the Power one, and Mimic gets the Flight one. They would kind of need to find a way to make this work though, because after that arc, Mimic just kind of becomes Duo, but I don't care, I'm not writing the story. I also think the least likely team would be just Starline, because in that same miniseries, he makes a glove that gives him all 3 powers, so he could just switch the gear with himself, but I don't really think that's going to happen. Now, the last 2 teams I want to bring up are the Hooligans and Mighty Ray and Trip, and I only say Trip because she's a classic character and I couldn't really think of anyone else to put with Mighty and Ray. And the reason I say this is unlikely is because Sega, for whatever reason, does not want to put classic characters in modern games. But what I do think could happen is, theoretically, since Silver's in this game, he could just time travel back to the classic era at the end of it, and I don't really know how they would do that, but if they did do these stories, I feel like they would need to be separated from the main ones. And those are all the teams I had ideas for, and my sister Esther, who came up with a lot of these, actually wanted to like give her own ideas for a plot that this game could have, so I'll let her say that. And also, I made a song about her in my album, so go listen to that on Spotify.
So my concept for Sonic Heroes 2 is Team Eggman is working on a worldwide augmented reality, which is like kind of inspired by some of the IDW comics where he has that like testing range, so like that, but on a bigger scale. So he could like control everything and do anything he wanted, like build Eggman Land. So then Team Sonic and the Diamond Cutters would be working to stop him, but then Team Alternate, which is what I'm calling the Silver, Blaze, and Mephiles, they're working against Team Eggman because Silver's future is all messed up. Originally he just tells Blaze, but then Mephiles comes along and he's like, let me help, and they're like, who are you? And he's like, don't worry about it. So then Starline hires the Babylonian Rogues to steal Eggman files on some of his bigger scale projects, like some of the bosses from Sonic games. Team Chaotix is investigating Starline because Knuckles heard about it and he's like, hey, I'm kind of too busy with Eggman to worry about that, so you go investigate that. So then separately, Team Dark is gathering info about Mephiles because Shadow sees him and he's like, what? Who is this? So then like Rouge and Omega are helping him gather information about who he is. Then Team Rose lost Froggy again and they are getting in everyone's way as they're looking for him. And then at the end, I don't know, like twist boss with Mephiles being like, hey, I'm gonna kill you all now. So they have to like team up to work against him. So then that's all for the main game, but to tie in the classic Sonic characters, so Team Classic Sonic is freeing animals from badniks, because what else do they do? They don't really have much of a life. Team Forgotten, which is what I'm calling Mighty, Ray, and Trip, because no one cares about any of them, is trying to be relevant, so they're trying to like help Team Classic Sonic defeat the Hooligans and stuff, but no one really cares. And then the Hooligans are hunting for the 8th Chaos Emerald and causing trouble. So yeah, that's my concept for Sonic Heroes 2.